What's the dumbest thing you've heard someone say? A new guy started at work. Just a regular guy, nothing unusual about him. This one idiot woman looked at him and said, "I don't like that guy, he looks prejudiced." No amount of explanation could persuade her to see the irony. As a guy with olive skin, some people jump to ridiculous conclusions and make assumptions about your background, beliefs, religions, behavior, etc. I have a tiny amount of Italian, but most of my ethnicity is English and German. However, people usually think I'm Greek or Italian, but I've heard so many times about how I look Italian, Greek, Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, French, German, Scandinavian, Mexican and Russian. In the winter I get quite pale, but still have dark hair, so people assume I'm Jewish. It doesn't bother me, but it's funny how the way I look can have such an impact on a small minority of people. Same here. I'm Irish with black hair that starts to curl when it's long. I have pale skin in the winter and very tan skin in the summer. Been asked if I'm Italian, Middle Eastern, Greek, Jewish, and Hispanic. People are shocked to hear I'm Irish. They think Irish people are all red hair and freckles. My dad is Irish and Polish, and most people think he's Cuban, another type of Latino, but they usually go to Cuban first, Greek, or Sicilian Italian. Got the black hair from his pale mom and dark skin from his blonde dad. I once had a Vietnamese friend's mom ask if I was Vietnamese or Chinese. The way my friend made a face and said she's white mom made me crack up. I have blue eyes and freckles, but I was somewhat flattered that she thought I could be Vietnamese like her. Black Irish. From the Moor that came to Ireland in the 11th century. My brother, who was probably 40 at the time, asked if you have to pay credit cards back. I used to work at a bank, and someone thought that they could just write as many checks as they want because they physically had checks left. No. You need to have the money in your account. My friend literally thought he found an infinite money glitch in college. Step 1. Buy groceries for your friends with credit card. Step 2. Get cash from friends. Step 3. Pay for drugs with cash from friends. I wonder whatever happened to him. We tried pretty hard to explain to him that this wasn't going to end well, and then one day he just wasn't around campus anymore. I remember someone posting to an AskReddit once about a girl who told him to just put an expensive item on a card because he wouldn't have to pay it. Turns out her rich parents paid all her credit card bills for her without her ever seeing them. It made me wonder, if that were really true, why would there be poverty? Why wouldn't every poor family just get a credit card so they could get free groceries and clothes and PS5s? If we desalinate the oceans, we'd solve all the world's problems. Man, I'm just trying to get my hair cut. I did some calculations, and to remove all the salt from the ocean, we'd need to make a conical pile the height of Mount Everest with a base 3,054 kilometers wide, i.e. most of North America. I did not know I was curious for this info until I read it. I'd respond by asking what problems are caused by having a salty ocean. Like, really, I'm not sure I can think of one. His logic was if we desalinated the oceans, we could use that water to grow crops and no one would ever be hungry. He thought if we fixed hunger, everything else would fall into place. Dude was just cutting my hair, so I didn't bother to ask what we do about all the Dead Sea creatures. This sounds like he heard about water desalination as a concept and misunderstood the purpose. Having a limitless source of fresh water would solve a lot of global problems, but the goal is not to fully unsalt the ocean. How can you be Spanish? It's a language, not a nationality. They at least get some points for not just calling you a Mexican like they do to anyone who speaks Spanish and is tan. People, this is a joke. I'm Mexican American, I'm not being serious when I say they get points. Just making light of the fact that this is a real comment in the USA. I remember when started playing League of Legends on the NA server. I'm Argentinian. Most of players would tell you're Mexican if recognize any Spanish word, or else you were a Chinese communist. Aren't Spanish people called Spaniards? When you speak in general, yeah, you do, but you don't say I'm Spaniard, you said you were Spanish. This. When it comes to people, Spaniard is a noun, Spanish is an adjective. Spanish is a noun only when referring to language. I drink my alkaline water with fresh squeezed organic lemon juice. G. Paltrow. Alkaline water is a scam in the first place, but by adding an acid it is no longer alkaline. She must not be putting in enough lemon juice, 'cause she's still just a basic bitch. I hope your chemistry joke gets the reaction it deserves. Nah, most of the people reading it are pretty unbalanced. I'm not sure people will get the element of this joke. I was dating this hippie drippy chick who was into that stuff. She invited me to go to a presentation about reducing stress, and alkaline water came up, and the presenter said you can add lemon juice to it. Long story short, when I went to ask the presenter some pointed questions afterwards, she jumped in and told me the body transforms the lemon juice to alkaline. OT, the presenter said he'd been a high school chem teacher before he'd been invalid by the bad vibrations from the Kobe earthquake. And he didn't know that acids are what makes things sour. Doesn't Gwyneth have ozone blasted up her hole? Ingesting acidified alkaline water is probably pretty normal for this lady. Although agreed, stupid. Just for the record. Acidified alkaline water is just water. All alkaline solutions are basic. If you add acid to this alkaline water, the acid neutralizes the base and you are left with the water. That Canada was a US state because it shares a border. When I asked if Mexico was a state because it also shares a border, I was told that's just dumb. I wonder if by their logic, the entirety of mainland Europe, Asia and Africa is just one country? No, they are all America too, because we share oceans with them. Don't forget the moon. We influence each other gravitationally. I can go one further. I'm in Canada. My ex-wife once argued with me that Brooklyn, NY was in Canada because when she went there, they only crossed the border once. I understand this makes no sense on multiple levels, but it's what she believed. Wait. What? So she acknowledges that you crossed a border but then says that fact means you're still in Canada? Yes. As ridiculous as it sounds, that was her position. There's a reason she's my ex. How did she get back if she only crossed once? That was my first question too. The argument was never settled because she started crying because I was being mean. My little brother's girlfriend told us, with pride, that she screamed at her doctor for not diagnosing her with ADHD. She's not a smart or nice lady. Sounds like she should be diagnosed with something. For example, anger issues. Probably. She needs some sort of help. But she's the type who wants ADHD so she can say she has ADHD. I can't stand her, lol. People who self-diagnose with ADHD, autism or any other debilitating condition because it's trendy to be neurodivergent and they're desperate to be different piss me right off. It makes it hard for the people who actually struggle with them to be taken seriously because everyone has ADHD/autism these days. I knew a guy at the gym who would work out every day and then take a cigarette break between sets. He said that he liked to smoke to clear his lungs out. A few months ago I finished my gym session in a big city in Germany and there was someone in the locker room, just chilling there and smoking a cigarette without doing anything else. Looked like that was the most normal thing in the world to him. I didn't report him because I was about to move cities anyway, but man, what an idiot. I had a friend who insisted that smoking helped her asthma because it made her breathe deeper. She wasn't bright. My ex smokes every now and then to test his asthma. That's not even the dumbest thing he's said or done. I used to know a guy who dead-ass believed the Earth is hollow. It has its own sun inside, there's holes in the poles which allow the light to escape, thus causing the aurora borealis, and inside this hollow Earth are giants called Nephilim. That and flat Earth/chemtrail believers. That's evolved version of flat earthers. Smooth brainers. Actually, I think it technically predates the modern flat earthers. But it's hard to keep this nonsense straight. Well, at least there is something to that. Earth's kernel is indeed hot. And its temperature approximately matches temperature of the sun's surface. Kernel generates magnetic field. And its poles are around navigational poles. Visualization of it can look like light escaping from the poles. And it indeed causes aurora. Between solid surface and solid kernel Earth is kinda Lakitish. So someone can say it is hollow. No explanation to Nephilims though. So I would guess he knew/saw some geological stuff without the context and created the possible explanations himself. The history of the belief in the hollow Earth is as long as it is asinine. The Earth is flat. I remember I was walking along the beach with my dad and there was a guy with some kind of laser measure. My dad asked him if they were building a new pier or something, but the guy said he was trying to measure the curvature of the Earth by pointing the laser out to the closest island. He then went on a massive rant for ages about how the Earth is flat before asking my dad what he thought. My dad responded with, "I was a pilot, I've seen the curvature of the Earth." I told them that. Now they say you can't fly high enough to see the curvature. And any video from a rocket is either fish-eyed or CGI. I honestly think they enjoy going against the norm. Like emos and don't actually have a goal. I don't want to pay rise because it will push me into the next tax bracket. Actually knew a guy that turned down a raise because of all the taxes. He understood that he would make more, but when he went through all the taxes, income, SS, both employees and company share, workman's comp, etc., he said he would rather forego the raise to get back at the government. I've changed my mind. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Hats off to that guy. That's dumb. Also, the company pays workman's compensation, not the employee. It's overhead. It reminds of a coworker who said he didn't want universal healthcare because he didn't want his taxes to go up. We're in the US. When I explained to him that the amount of extra taxes he paid would be more than offset by the amount of money he would save by not having to pay for private insurance, and would therefore be taking more money home, he simply responded, "I don't care, I don't want my taxes to go up." Owning the libs by voluntarily paying $12K a year for insurance instead of paying $2K in taxes and having $10K more in your bank account. Warned us on a hot day to not drink too much ice water. Because it makes you fat. Just ice water, or really cold water though. I explained that, no. Water cannot make you fat, as water has no calories. He spent the lunch hour trying to find something on the internet to prove himself right, even asking Siri, with no luck. I'm pretty sure staying hydrated actually speeds up your metabolism, too. Cold water actually makes you lose a tiny amount of weight as your body expends energy bringing it up to your body temperature. Please like and subscribe for more daily content.